Ladies and gentlemen, good day and welcome to the Gujarat State Fertilizers and Chemicals Limited 4Q FY21 earnings conference call, hosted by Batliwala and Karani Securities India Private Limited. As a reminder, all participant lines will be in the listen-only mode, and there will be an opportunity for you to ask questions after the presentation concludes. Should you need assistance during the conference call, please signal an operator by pressing star, then zero on your touchtone phone. Please note that this conference is being recorded. I now hand the conference over to Mr. Deepak Kohli from Batliwala and Karani Securities India Private Limited. Thank you, and over to you, sir.
Thanks, Faizan. Good afternoon, everyone. On the behalf of Batliwala and Karani Securities, I would like to welcome all the participants who have logged into this fourth quarter result con call of Gujarat State Fertilizer and Chemicals. From the management team, we have with us Mr. Nanavati, Executive Director and CFO, and Mr. Vacharajani, Company Secretary and Senior Vice President of Legal. Thank you, management, for giving us the opportunity to host this call. I would like to request Nanavati sir to first begin with his opening remarks, and post which we will have the Q&A session. Thank you, and over to you, sir.
Thank you, Deepak. Good afternoon to all the participants and welcome to this post-result quarter 4 con call. We have Mr. S.P. Yadav, Executive Director, Fertilizer Marketing, and Mr. Vacharajani, Company Secretary and Senior VP Legal, along with me. So, hope you have all seen the results. First of all, we have been back to 110% dividend, which was lower last year due to the financial position during that time. Otherwise, the year was good, mainly marked by the huge collection in subsidy, with the government initiative to give additional 65,000 crore subsidy to fertilizer sector. All the backlog prevailing year after year has been cleared, and that is reflected in our financial position and the interest cost saving. So, otherwise on operational front, we had a higher production of fertilizer, and in the industrial chemicals, we started the methanol plant, which was lying idle for last 5-6 years. Melamine 3 plant also stabilized and was now running at 100% capacity. As far as the fair value of investment is concerned, as you are in the main market, you know all the Sensex is up, and that has been reflected in the investment that we hold. So last year in March 20, due to COVID, the fair value was down to 1985 crore, which has increased to 4233 crores. That is reflected in the other comprehensive income. Profit figures and other balance sheet figures are with you, so I am not elaborating. But because of good financial position, we have paid back the only long-term loan we have 93 crore, and also substantially returned the working capital borrowing that we had, so which is down from 1400 crore to 35 crores. And we have a deposit of around 1000 crores in March 21 due to this good subsidy collection. Also, because of good rainfall, we had a good collection from the field also. So, whatever outstanding was there of earlier years due to bad rains has all been collected. So, that is how also the receivables are also showing a good improvement. And as a good corporate citizen, we were the first to start oxygen supply to the local municipal authorities. So thereafter, government realized that fertilizer companies can give oxygen. So others were also requested to join, which everybody has welcomed wholeheartedly. As far as the projects are concerned, the board has recently approved 4 projects. One is ammonium sulfate fourth plant of 400 metric ton capacity, which is in line with our already 3 ammonium sulfate plants we have, which gives good margin in fertilizer sector. Then we have a sulfuric acid fifth plant. We already have 4 plants, and this will be the fifth plant, 600 metric ton per day. Then we are commissioning nylon 6 compounding plant that is expected to be commissioned by December 21. That is a 48 metric ton per day compounding line that will be coming at the cost of around 35 crores. Then we are setting up 15 megawatt solar plants at around 85 crores investment. And board has also approved urea revamp project for energy reduction in line with the Department of Fertilizers norms of energy consumption for urea. So we will be meeting those norms and in fact exceeding and making some savings in urea cost of production. So these were the major highlights from now onwards, from April onwards. Caprolactam benzene spread has gone beyond $1,000, which was stuck up below $1,000 for almost last 2-3 years. So that is a good sign. And in the other income, there is a one-time item as mentioned in our note to the statutory result of some parcel of land was sold, which brought a profit of 42 crores. So that is a one-time item. Otherwise, going forward, there was some transition period in April and May when the raw material cost, particularly phosphate, sulfur, ammonia, everything went up substantially, and companies were in dilemma whether to increase MRP or government will support by a higher subsidy. But in the interest of farmer, government decided to increase the subsidy, and now the MRP of all the PNK fertilizers are maintained at same level of last year by GSFC. So that will be a great relief to the farmers. Now, as you know, a normal rainfall is predicted this year, so we hope to improve the fertilizer volume going forward. And as you know, the commodity super cycle, all our industrial products are fetching good price. So we see an improved margin going forward in industrial products. So we are optimistic for this current year also, in spite of, as you know, in spite of COVID, agriculture sector, fertilizer sector has fared well. So we hope this will also be the same story this year in spite of COVID situation. Thank you. That was all from management side.
So should we start the floor for Q&A?
Yes.
Thank you very much. We will now begin the question and answer session. Anyone who wishes to ask a question may press star and 1 on their touchtone telephone. If you wish to remove yourself from the question queue, you may press star and 2. Participants are requested to use handsets while asking a question. Ladies and gentlemen, we will wait for a moment while the question queue assembles. Reminder to the participants, anyone who wishes to ask a question may press star and 1 at this time. The first question is from the line of Nirav Jimudia from Anvil Research. Please go ahead.
Good afternoon, sir. So I have 2 questions. Sir, could you please update on the production numbers for melamine for the month of for the financial year FY21? Because I think the new plant of 40,000 tons, what you mentioned is like had been already operating at 100%, but I just want an update for the previous two plants, what we have of 5,000 tons. So if you can just update on the melamine production numbers for FY21. And a related question to this would be, sir, in last 3-4 months, we have seen lot of ups and downs in the melamine prices. So prices moving all the way high up to 200, then coming back to 150, now at 160, 170. So how you foresee the melamine prices, and what is driving the prices of melamine higher in the international market? So this is one first question, sir.
Yeah, so melamine, no, now we are mainly running melamine 3 plant because that is a very energy efficient plant. So when the lot of imports are coming at cheaper price, so we can't afford to have higher energy plants. So the full year number for melamine was 38,732 metric tons.
Okay.
So mainly coming from the melamine 3 plant, and looking to the price dynamics, we run melamine 2 plant, or we don't run melamine 2 plant, but melamine 1 plant we always keep on hold because of higher energy consumption. So as far as melamine pricing are concerned, yeah, it's going up substantially every month, and mainly because of the disruptions in the Europe and Japan arena, there have been some downfall in the production world over. So melamine prices are going up, and as you know, the melamine used in the laminates and all, even in India also, in spite of COVID, more and more houses are registered. So today only in Gujarat, they have shown the 45% increase in the new house registration. So all this drives the melamine demand, and we are the only producer in India, so we have that advantage of reaping this benefit.
Okay.
So, but it will keep fluctuating, looking to the international demand and supply scenario. And as you know, we already have this anti-dumping duty on melamine.
Correct.
We are protected from the Chinese aggression.
Correct. So, sir, like how we produce melamine? So, it is produced from ammonia, or do we produce it from urea?
No, it is produced from urea.
Okay. So, ammonia to urea, and then urea transferring to melamine plant. So, this is how the production process.
But ammonia is made from natural gas. Okay. So, there is a natural gas, ammonia, urea, melamine chain.
Okay. And sir, you mentioned in your opening remarks about diverting of oxygen for the COVID purpose. So, do we face any short? So does it impact our production of ammonia? Because I think one of the critical raw material is oxygen also for the production of ammonia. So, how do we see ammonia production and its impact on our downstream products?
No, this is not affecting our any production.
Okay.
So, you know, this what we are giving is 10 metric ton per day.
Okay.
But we produce 1400 metric ton per day ammonia. So this is very minuscule.
Okay. And sir, a last question on melamine would be, sir, you mentioned that we have reduced the energy consumption for melamine, and our cost dynamics have improved. So,
Correct.
Apart from gross margin, so sales minus RMC is not in our hand, because then it depends upon raw material and finished product prices. But
Correct.
If you can give us some sense in terms of our operating cost, like what is our operating cost, fixed plus variable for melamine, that would be helpful, sir.
Oh, so we don't comment on individual products.
Okay.
So, but overall, this segment result, EBIT, is a overall gives picture of the earning that we make.
Okay.
and particularly full year, instead of full year earning, if you look at the fourth quarter, that will be better because prices are on up. So full year is still depressing, and as I said, going forward it is still more lucrative from April.
Correct.
So like say caprolactam spread increase beyond $1,000 first time from April. So it's still going up.
Correct. And sir, on any guidance on the caprolactam and melamine production for FY22, like what are our internal targets for production of both these products for FY22, if you can guide, sir?
So we are producing at full capacity. But there are of course shutdowns, regular shutdowns.
Okay.
So melamine is 40,000 ton. So that is mainly melamine 3. So I think that much we will definitely produce. But then if cost dynamic permit us to restart melamine 2 plant, that there will be some further more production, say 5 to 7,000 tons. So maybe 45 to 50,000 tons we will make in this year. That is melamine. Caprolactam, for sale purpose, it is some 55 to 60,000 ton is available. Balance goes to make in nylon 6.
Nylon 6, correct.
So around production may be around 80 to 85,000 ton. Out of which some 20-25,000 will go to make nylon 6.
Correct.
Balance is available for sale.
Got it. Thank you, sir, for answering the questions in detail, and I'll join back in the queue for further questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Reminder to the participants, anyone who wishes to ask a question may press star and 1. The next question is from the line of Bharat Subramaniam from Sundaram Mutual Fund. Please go ahead.
Yeah. Thank you, sir. Thanks for the opportunity. So just, I missed your initial comments, but if you can just give some color in terms of what are the current projects that we are undertaking at this point of time in terms of growth CapEx and in terms of what is the outlay that will be earmarked for that will be helpful.
So you are talking of new projects?
Yeah.
Yeah, so as I said, the board of directors has approved ammonium sulfate new plant of 400 metric ton. That will cost around 80 crore rupees and will add some 30 crore to the turnover. Then we have sulfuric acid number 5 plant. We already have 4. So that is 600 metric ton per day, which will cost around 180 crores. Then we have nylon 6 compounding line. That is a further value-added stream from the Capro group. So Capro, nylon 6 and then nylon 6 compounding. That is the chain. So that is 48 metric ton per day. That will bring around turnover of 260 crores and it will capex is 35 crore rupees and we plan to commission it by December 21. Then we have solar park of 15 megawatt at around 85 crores. We will complete in say, June 22. That will reduce our power bill. And then we have urea revamp program of around 300 crore capex to match with the energy norms specified by Department of Fertilizer. Otherwise, they don't pay subsidy on higher energy consumption. But that will be done in the live urea plant, so it will take around 24 to 30 months to complete. So these are the board-approved capex plan. Plus, there are a few others which are under discussion at different stage. Various detailed project reports are under discussion with the outside professional consultants. So once those are found to be viable, so it will be taken up for further evaluation and board approval. So maybe by September end we will come with some more news on the capex.
So after the initial DFR and SICA, so that we're not progressing. So in terms of complex, there's nothing at this point of time, right, sir, in terms of planning?
No, that is also under consideration because of this large capex and the COVID situation that was under hold. So now it will be revived because full year we have seen that agri sector can survive or it can excel in COVID period also. So there is no anything unknown in this time for undertaking large projects. So it will be more than 1,500 crores. So now that will also be re-evaluated, and definitely with this kind of phosphate seed price, that will definitely make a commercial sense to have a phosphate seed project in India.
Okay. So in your view, should it be reviewed now? To what extent will that ballpark will it get revised, sir, for the SICA project? Is it going to be done now?
I could not understand your question. If you can.
No, if the SICA project were to be revived now, what in your view would be your revised capex number compared to the original plan that we had earlier?
So we may go on a modular scale instead of just going for say 1,000 or 1,200 metric ton per day phosphate seed plant. We may as well go for a 600 into 2 kind of a stepwise project. So suddenly we don't jump into a large capex commitment. So it will be 600 metric ton per day phosphate seed coupled with 1,800 metric ton per day sulfuric acid plant. So numbers still are being checked, what could be the number, but it, as I said, it could be around 1,500 crore.
Okay. And one last question, sir, in terms of balance sheet, the other financial assets of 868 crores that we have, this is largely the deposits, sir?
Yeah, they are deposit because of this accounting standard classification. If I don't put it in bank and all, then it is classified as other financial assets. So they are deposits.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Ahmed Mata from Unifi Capital. Please go ahead.
Thank you for the opportunity. Sir, what is the status on anti-dumping duty of caprolactam?
Caprolactam is going on in the Department of Commerce, DGTD. So it is both way. For Atmanirbhar, we want to give protection to the Indian industry, as well as there are a lot of foreign pressures to resisting this kind of anti-dumping duty. And since of late we are the only producer, though FACT is there, but they have not been producing caprolactam for many years. So with no comparative data available to the regulators in India, so they are taking some time to notify this anti-dumping duty. And as I said, the prices are rising. So when you make good profit, then there is a problem in giving some other protection.
Okay, understood. And sir, in DAP, our key raw materials are phosphoric acid and the ammonia, and we are integrated in ammonia. And government has addressed the rising phosphoric acid price by increasing the subsidy. Now, on the NPK side, is there any, in the foreseeable future, is there any hike in subsidy for NPK fertilizer?
No, they have increased the subsidy in all fertilizers. Only the DAP being a well-known fertilizer, and NPK having so many grades. So of what grades they will talk. So they are not talking of NPK, but where they are increasing basically subsidy in the phosphatic P component of the PNK fertilizers. So wherever P is used, the subsidy stands increase. So all kind of NPK 12, 32, 16, 10, 26, 26, then ammonium phosphate sulfate that we make, that is 20, 20, 0, 13, 16, 20. So many grades where P component is there, the subsidy stands increase depending upon the weightage of the P in that fertilizer.
Okay, sir, understood. And sir, are we planning any VRS in the near term?
Which one?
VRS, voluntarily retirement?
No, actually, we are good paymaster, so why anybody will go home? Nobody will. In fact, we have reduced our employee cost from last year, so that is always there in our mind, but no VRS.
Okay, that's fine. And sir, what market expect for fertilizer segment in FY22? Can you give some guidance?
Maybe this 5-6%.
Okay. So thank you.
Thank you. Reminder to the participants, anyone who wishes to ask a question may press star and 1. The next question is from the line of Poojan Patel from Mahadev Capital. Please go ahead.
Sir, I want to ask how many products you want to launch in near future under this project?
Yeah, so when this COVID situation occurred, we saw that a lot of pharma intermediates are coming from China, and that needs to be improved. We need to make it in India. So we examine the synergy of our products, our raw material, our market with pharma intermediate that is required, and to make India Atmanirbhar. So we have identified some 11 products which GSF can make and provide to the pharma industries locally. So few of them has already been put in the market. Their quantities are not so big, and others are in development stage. So we are working on that once we have taken up that subject. So some of them are made in India by other manufacturers. Some are not at all made, 100% imported.
Okay.
So this 11 product that we are talking is something that will be useful to the India. It's not that we will be one more producer and we want to get into this in any way. So we have selected only those products which India is importing in large way. There are no local or few local manufacturers, and GSF shares synergy with their own operations. So we are not jumping into totally unknown area or where we don't have any expertise. So looking to all these things, we have selected those products, and they are at the different stage of product life cycle, so to say, before they come into the market.
Yes. And sir, company has now debt free and has a huge cash in terms of investment or some bank holding. So do you have any big expansion plan?
Yeah, so as we said about this project, as you see that we have been doing small or big projects for many years, and we hardly take any term loan from outside. And the one term loan that we had taken for melamine 3, that we also prepaid before due date.
Okay.
So generally when we have the cash on hand or deposit like this, we don't go for outside borrowing. So the project that we talked recently, they will all be mostly done from the in-house funding, and plus the large phosphoric acid plant at Sikka and some MMA plant all those kinds of investment are more than 1,500 crores. So all this cash will be used up in the project coming.
Sir, this investment only invest in 21-22 or take some longer time?
No, they will take some longer time, but as we start the project, some project advance and some equipment advance and all these things keep coming. So plus subsidy also, government is not going to some hefty subsidy like 65,000 crore additional. So once government fund also dries up, there will be subsidy blockage also going forward, where they will then our internal fund will be used for production purpose.
The last question.
We don't want to put it in FD and enjoy interest on FD. We want to do business.
Yeah, sir. Company want to do business. Then why company has invested such huge amount in Gujarat Gas, Gujarat Alkalis, GNFC? Is there any plan to monetize this investment and ramp up our production or expansion, something in big way?
Oh, that government controls all these things. But they will only decide monetization. Right now, there is no plan.
But sir, this is a investment such like FD, so you can expand.
Yeah, but if we had sold, say, GSPC Gas or Gujarat Gas 2 years before, we would not have got this kind of valuation. So just by holding 2 years, it is multiplied number of times.
But sir, any plan to reward investors?
In a public sector unit, it is difficult to dispose of this investment because valuation, nobody can say how the valuation will move. So if you sell it at a lesser price, then there will be no allegation that who decided and why it was sold at so less price, and somebody should be brought to charge and all these things. So,
the last question: how you predict 21-22?
We are a very optimistic organization and it's very good future, and that has happened so far. So we expect some growth in both industrial products and fertilizers. We see growth in this 21-22 also.
Sir, any contribution from the Atmanirbhar Bharat product in 21-22?
Yeah, they have been giving, though their turnover is small, but they are very good in profitability. But these are all some secret things that we cannot talk in public.
No? Okay, sir. Okay. Okay, sir. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Participants, to ask a question, you may press star and 1. The next question is from the line of Nishit Shah from Equitas Investments. Please go ahead.
Good afternoon, sir, and congratulations on good set of numbers.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. Sir, I wanted to understand how has the fertilizer sales been in last 2 months, April and May?
There has not been much sale. As I said, this phosphate, ammonia, sulfur went up substantially high. So, no, there were only two alternatives before the companies: either increase the MRP or wait for subsidy support from government, higher subsidy support. So government was sounding that to take care of farmers' interest, they will be increasing the subsidy. So companies were holding back their sales. So there has not been much sale in this last 2 months, but of course it was also a lull period for fertilizer because season will start. Now Kerala will receive the monsoon in 2-3 days time. So with that the monsoon will set in India. So now the real buying will start. So even if we make some first point sale, real consumption is going to happen in June, from June only.
Yes, sir. And sir, I wanted to understand for our industrial products, any significant price changes in last 2 months?
Yeah, prices have increased substantially from January onwards. and they are still increasing. So it is bringing newer heights to the sales as well as profitability in the industrial chemicals. So till this crude remains around $65, we are going to see a sustained good price in industrial products.
Okay, sir. Got it. Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Saket Kapoor from Kapoor and Company. Please go ahead.
Dhanyavad, sir. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon. Actually, you should come to GSFC and ask questions.
Okay, sir. So, but here, sir, vaccination and COVID is still the overhang, sir. So.
Yeah. Let us hope you are able
to period is, sir. Sir. Yes. Sir, what is our current working capital requirement for the fertilizer segment, sir?
Right now, 35 crore has been used for working capital borrowing. So it is right now negligible in view of the.
No, sir, I want to understand on an annual basis, sir. On an annual basis, what is our working capital requirement for running the fertilizer business?
You see, on an average, barring subsidy, we have some 60 days outstanding from the fertilizer. So from the field, suppose we have 6,000 crores of sale, we get some 2,500 as subsidy, and 3,500 we collect from the field. So from the field we have some 60 days collection, so maybe 600 crore rupees, and fertilizer subsidy we have 90 days outstanding, so that is some 500. So around 1,000 crore rupees is needed for working capital, 1,000 to 1,200 crore.
Achha. And sir, how does the math works for our industrial chemical there?
You see, we have monopoly producers for caprolactam, melamine, even ammonia is also not freely available. So we sell most of the things on cash on credit basis. And even if we extend credit, we charge interest, working capital interest. So some buyers open LC and ask for some credit period, but that is based on the interest cost. It is not a free credit. So there we have the credit requirement is very, very less. So you can see that as on March end, against these 1,800 crore industrial product sales, our overdue was just 45 lakh rupees. That is also some old parties. There is no current overdue outstanding, but some overdue stuck up in past. So it's just nothing.
Correct. Sir, if we take the fertilizer product PBT levels, sir, in the segmental result, it is 368.56 crore. Sir, out of this portion, how much is on account of any subsidy, or are these totally the profit margins getting converted into PBT?
No, this is a profit margin getting converted into PBT. There is nothing, one-time thing or anything abnormal or nothing like this. This is all the fertilizer profit.
Right, sir. And sir, these margins are sustainable for the fertilizer product for this year also, sir, or due to these changes in the business environment, we don't foresee them?
No, this is 6% of our sales, so it will vary between 5 to 6%.
5 to 6%. Right, sir. In the methanol sales part, sir, in your volume data, where is that methanol sale is clubbed, sir? Under which category?
It's part of industrial products.
Right, sir.
Volume, we have put it on our website. Sales volume, production volume.
Yes, sir. I have seen that, but under the industrial products, sir, we have clubbed only caprolactam, melamine, nylon 6, and MEX, OXMI.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah. So this being a new product, so we are not separately categorized, but it is a part of industrial product. From next quarter, we will show it separately.
So So what was the sales figure, sir, for this year, sir?
It was 181 crore.
181 crore.
Yes.
Okay, sir. Just a short understanding and a request, sir. When we do a peer comparison, sir, in the industrial segment, we are the pioneer in many of the products where only GSFC is the manufacturer.
Right.
There is no peer comparison for us in that segment.
Correct.
But in the fertilizer part, sir, if we take our size and the geographies which we cover, what is our market share, and if we can cover go for a peer comparison?
Yeah. So Mr. Yadav, our ED marketing will reply to this. 1 minute. Yeah, good afternoon. In case of DAP, we are enjoying a market share of 5.43%, and overall we are enjoying 8th position in the country, and we are enjoying 4.2% market share.
%4.2%.
Yeah. That is all P&K fertilizer together.
Right. And for the urea part, sir?
Urea part 2.5%.
2.5%. Sir, here I have two suggestions, sir. We find that the reach between the company and the investors, so the company should look forward for press release and investor presentation also before the conference calls are held, and so that more information can be disseminated prior to what the conference calls are held, and that will give a fair idea of how the quarter has performed. If it warrants any merit, it should be looked into, and that should be contemplated, sir, going forward, if that could be made. And for the volume data also, sir, we find that the volume data figure only shows the comparative figure for the last quarter. When Q4 of 1920 versus Q4 of 2021, but the cumulative numbers for the 9 months or for the period ending for that up to that period is not mentioned. So there should be जैसे सर अब आप जून का दीजिएगा तो give us for the June and last year numbers also. So we'll get the understanding how the trajectory is panning out. So these small tinkering would be really helpful, and we look for the continuity of interaction with investors. So for the employees part, sir, you have informed that it is mentioned, it is seen that from the employee cost has gone down from 729 crore to 659 crore. But sir, there is an ad hoc increase. Hello.
Yeah, correct.
But there is an ad hoc increase on quarter, sir, from 172 crores to 227 crores. So what kind of employee benefit expense should be penciling in for the year as a whole? And is there any revision or that is pending, some ad hoc payment that may happen for the next year?
No, so 700 crore is a reasonable estimate, and there is nothing pending. We do wage revision every 4 years, so till 4 years nothing is going to change substantially. What changes in a quarter is this fair valuation of this long-term liabilities, that is actual valuation of pension, gratuity, leave, all these things. So all this actuaries make some sudden changes in their assumption, like they say that now India's people will live 3 years more than they were living earlier. तो दे इंक्रीज द लायबिलिटी कि आपको पेंशन 3 साल और देना पड़ेगा, तो आपकी लायबिलिटी बढ़ गई. तो अभी ये सब तो हमारे हाथ में कहाँ है, ये सब एजम्पशन बैठे बैठे करते रहते हैं. But there is no go. You cannot argue all these things. फिर ये गवर्नमेंट के बॉन्ड रेट बदल जाते हैं. So government bond rate decreases, then your liability increases because of discounting factor. तो जो आपके हाथ में कुछ नहीं है उसके लिए ये हमको झेलना पड़ता है, क्या करें.
Thank you. Mr. Kapoor, may we request that you return to the question queue for follow-up questions. The next question is from the line of Deepak Chitroda from Phillip Capital. Please go ahead.
Hi, sir. Thank you for the opportunity. My first question is about the capex plan which Nanavati sir was talking about. Sir, if you can just repeat that about what has been earlier we were planning and what the new board has approved in terms of sulfuric acid and all. I basically missed that part initially.
Yeah, so we will have a new ammonium sulfate plant of 400 metric ton. That will cost around 80 crores and will bring turnover of 230 crores.
Okay.
And we will have a sulfuric acid fifth plant of 600 metric ton per day. At a capex of around 180 crores. That will be captive consumption, so there is no sale. Then we have a nylon 6 compounding plant of 48 metric ton per day. That on a full year basis it will bring 260 crores turnover and at a capex of 35 crore, and that is expected to start in December 21. Then we have solar 15 megawatt solar plant, and that will commission in June 22 at the cost of 85 crores. And then to meet the urea energy norms, we are revamping our urea plants at a cost of 300 crores. That will bring down the energy consumption and it will meet the DOF norms of energy norms. So it will take some 24 to 28 months to complete because all these changes will be done in the live plants. We are not stopping the plant and doing the capex. So these are the firm plans for capex going ahead. And the two plan we had earlier decided of sulfuric acid, phosphoric acid as SICA, that was on hold because of COVID situation last year. So we may review this and take them forward. So that is a 600 metric ton per day phos acid and 1800 metric ton per day sulfuric acid at a cost of around 1500 crore. And then there is a MMA chemical 1,64,000 metric ton, that is also around 1,500 to 2,000 crore plant. So this review on these two will be taken in this year and will be decided whether we are going ahead or we are shelving those plans. Various detailed project reports are for other 5-6 products are also going on. So if we found something viable, we will come back at the time of September result.
Sure, sir. Thanks for the detailed explanation. So on the urea side, if you can tell me what is our present energy norms at Baroda which we produce?
Government has mandated 6.2 gigacalorie per ton. So we are little higher than that. And after revamp, we will be lower than this norm. So these norms are applicable till March 25.
Sure. So we'll be bringing it down to around 5.5 group 1 level?
5.5 to 6.
Okay. Sure. So now my second question is about, I think we were talking about backward integration at the SICA, by setting up the additional capacity. So I mean, I'm hearing this over past, in fact, 3 years. So I think this will definitely going to improve our margin if we try and do a backward integration, because I think as of now, if we look at versus other competitors, our margins are much lower because we are highly dependent on the imported acid and ammonia. So Is there any particular priority which we might see towards, next September or so for this particular project?
Yeah, so, definitely we are going to look at it, as soon as possible. So, if there is a clear vision, then, definitely we will announce it.
So why I'm saying this, because as I understand, as of now, it's not viable for at least imported phosphate and ammonia players to basically, produce DAP and maybe, some high nutrient grades NPKs. So,
Correct.
Probably what will be the GSF's strategy, at least for, this Kharif season, probably we might be selling, this ammonium phosphate sulfate only, or we'll be catering to some DAP. Otherwise, we might lose some market share.
No, definitely we'll be selling what we sold in this current year, about some 25 lakh ton. And there's no going back that number, so we hope to only increase it. Maybe some product mix, as you correctly said, may change. So instead of making so much of DAP, which is not viable, we may focus more on NPKs, ammonium sulfate, and APS, and all those categories. But we will definitely not like to lose the market share.
Sure. So basically try and do some reshuffling in terms of the product wise, specifically the Sika unit, I guess. Yeah.
Correct. Yes.
Sure, sir. Thank you for this, and all the best for upcoming year.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Shriman Dudoria from Unifi Capital. Please go ahead.
Yeah, thanks for the opportunity. So firstly, on the volumes in our industrial segment in the current quarter, there was a sequential decline across the three product categories that we show in Q4 as compared to Q3 of 21. So what has led to that decline?
So you are talking about quarter 1, 2 in industrial products?
Quarter 4, 21 versus quarter 3, 21. Q on Q decline.
Q on Q. Okay, let me see. Yeah, so as far as turnover is concerned, there is an increase in turnover by 43 crores. So
on volume basis, sir.
Volume basis. Yeah, so some product mix maybe here and there, but we brought mainly the methanol into the line. So methanol was sold more in quarter 3 as compared to quarter 4. So there the volume difference has come up. Otherwise, all volumes are more in quarter 4.
So for example, melamine volumes was down, right, from about 15,387 to about 10,672.
Melamine volume. Volume data of quarter 3 is not immediately available to me for industrial products. Something here and there happens, but there is nothing structurally, hindrance or damaging thing. So it's just a marketing from here or there. There's nothing special or long-term adverse thing there.
Right, sure. And how has the COVID-2 impacted, our business in the industrial segment? Has the volume been impacted? How much has that been impacted?
No, it is not impacted. Initially, from April to September, there was some impact because downstream industries were closed because of this lockdown. So at that time, we did export to the other countries for melamine, caprolactam, etc. But since October, slowly things are opening up. So now we don't do much export, and whatever is produced is domestically sold. So there is no hindrance to demand, or there is no effect on the demand. In fact, as you know, when the prices are rising, everybody wants more and more material because there is a doubt that further rise will happen. So better to buy it right now. So that kind of feeling drives them to buy more and more.
Right, sir. So if I look at the history of our industrial products over the last decade, FY 11-12 was kind of a golden period in the industrial products. And I think our margins at that point in time was north of 30%. Now the product mix has been changed, because we have introduced few products over the years. But do you see, the prevailing trend in the caprolactam spread and also the realizations of other products, we should, near to, the earlier highs in terms of margin that we achieved in the segment?
No. Those days are permanently gone. So, no. When China enters into any particular product, the whole scenario changes in 5 years' time. So earlier they were importing caprolactam, but now they have huge plants, maybe some 20 lakh metric tons, and that has changed the whole worldwide scenario. So they are flooding the markets with their products. So those kind of margins are never going to return. Those were very, very abnormal. Like caprolactam price, which is $2,000 right now, was around $3,500 at that time. And the benzene spread, so those $1,000 were $2,000 spread was there. So those days are gone, they're never going to return.
Right, sir. So globally, are there more capacities getting added, sir, especially in China for caprolactam? And do you see, the spread, kind of compressing in the near term, or do you think that it should continue at least for the next, say, 12-18 months?
Yeah, no, it will continue around this $1,000. So, but all chemical business is cyclical in nature, so it will go up and then come down, and so average you can expect $1,000 at least. And we will be then specializing in the nylon field. If a persistent downward trend in caprolactam is seen, and we'll move in the next value chain, where though it is a niche product with variety like NPK fertilizers, so many varieties in nylon 6 grade with different applications. So then we will move to that area by selling less caprolactam.
Thank you, Mr.
By the way, we are the only producer of basic nylon chips in India. So nobody is producing nylon chips in India.
Thank you. Mr. Duduria, may we request that you return to the question queue for follow-up questions. Thank you. The next question is from the line of Priya Mehta from Rishi Finstock. Please go ahead.
Hello, good afternoon, sir. Thank you for the opportunity. So my question, I have wanted to know three things related to caprolactam. So what is the expected price for FY22 versus FY21? Trend or the ballpark figures? I missed on the anti-dumping duty status, which was asked by the previous participant. It would be great if you could repeat that. And the third one was that the custom duty was reduced on caprolactam in the previous budget. So will that have any impact for us? Thank you.
Yeah, so if you take the duty part, they have reduced the custom duty on caprolactam to help the textile sector. But as you know, the prices have gone up substantially, so that 2.5% duty reduction has not made any impact on us. On the contrary, the caprolactam spread has improved and the prices have also improved, and that has brought more profit to the company. Anti-dumping duty, as we said, it is going on in the Ministry of Commerce, and since we are the only producer at present, regulators don't have any comparable data, so they are evaluating the things. So it is a call between Atmanirbhar Bharat and resistance from the foreign exporters to give undue advantage to a single company. So that is the choice ultimately they will have to make. So since last 2 years, the caprolactam prices are remaining in the range of say $1,200 to $2,000. So recently only it has gone above $2,000 from April, and with the crude oil also remaining between $65 to $70, we feel that this price will be maintained at least in this year, and we will have a good margin on caprolactam.
Understood. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, we will take the last question from the line of Falguni Datta from Jet Age Securities. Please go ahead.
Hello.
Hello, yeah, Falguni.
Yeah. How are you?
Fine. So you are in the most difficult state.
Yeah, true. Most difficult state. And everybody's fine there, no?
Yeah, we are fine. And we were running all the throughout the whole 2021 from March till date. Our plants are running at full capacity. All the 4,000 people come daily, and we manage the show.
That is very great.
Yeah.
Sir, just wanted to know in for Q4 FY21, this Q4, the caprobenzene spread was exactly how much?
Q4 was around some $800.
Okay. And and for this coming 3 months, let's say 3-month view, your outlook on caprolactam prices?
So it will be about $2,000 with a spread of around $1,000.
Okay. And lastly, on this DAP, now the entire increase the government will be bearing, no, in terms of subsidy. So we don't have to hike any DAP MRP, no?
Yeah, correct. So it was 1,200 rupees per bag before change. So it will be still be 1,200 rupees from now also.
Okay.
There is a matching subsidy of 1,200 rupees by government.
Okay. That's all, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, that was the last question for today. I now hand the conference over to the management for closing comments.
Yeah, thank you everybody. So as we discussed, we see positives in this year or coming year. And Vajrayani is keen to hold a conference physically in Mumbai once this COVID settles down. So there we will have a more detailed discussion, and we'll have more clarity on the capex also by that time. So it will be a joyful discussion. Till then, thank you.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of Batliwala and Karani Securities, that concludes this conference. Thank you for joining us, and you may now disconnect your lines.